When I was dating, I never used to explain myself to men, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Just think about it. By the time you're leaving a relationship, what interest does he have in changing what you've told him? Most guys are going to do what this guy did. He's going to make it about you. He's going to make it about something wrong with you. She was hurt, she was this, she was that, and it's not going to change him. You might as well just say, hey, it's not working out. I wish you all the best. Nothing but the best, matter of fact. Keep it moving.
I love that video. Go watch the whole thing. It's linked in my caption. And I love the analogy to her learning that at law school and apply to business, because there's a lot of things that I've actually learned in my life that had nothing to do with dating that I absolutely was like, holy crap, this is the same thing. Do you benefit? Not at all from explaining to men what they did wrong. Unless you actually plan on having a friendship with this person, which y'all know I've talked about friendships and how a lot of men, they make terrible friends in general. They make even worse friends if you ever dated, because they just exploit you for all, they use you as a free therapist and blah, 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 because they don't actually have any other friends that show up for them, especially male friends, because men don't know how to show up for each other as friends, which I've written about before and y'all know that. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, this article I wrote about that. So in general, most friendships with exes don't tend to work out for cishet couples, at least. I see it work out all the time across other sexual orientations and demographic, but for some reason, it is very rare that it actually works out because of patriarchy and men just assuming that they just are entitled to all this stuff from us, right? And they're just used to using us for whatever possible thing they can use us for. And a lot of men use us as a lesson for them to date better later on, right? And I'm tired of giving them that lesson. I am tired of giving them feedback. I'm tired of being their teacher. They are the worst students ever, And they're not paying me. So I know that a lot of women believe that if they can just have that closure, if they can just explain to him what he did wrong, they'll feel better and they'll get that closure, and blah, 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 blah. But let me tell you, it actually doesn't feel great. It's usually a waste of your time because a lot of times they gaslight you anyway. They're not listening. And the ones who are listening, this is what you're actually doing. You are, unless they truly want to change, and like I said, unless you really honestly care about this person, he's a really good person in your mind, but you just weren't compatible or something else. But in general, what they're going to do is take that information and use it to refine their exploitation skills and somehow screw over another woman in the future, even worse, right? They adapt. They get sneakier. They're like, crap, I got away. I got busted having a whole another family or whatever it is they were doing, right? So now they know to lock their phone. Now they know, whatever. I mean, it could be a number of things. But a lot of men just, they won't deal with this stuff in therapy or in any kind of counseling or any kind of, work on themselves. They won't read books. They don't read books about relationships. And if they do, it's like how to be a player. And being a player is basically admitting that you coerce women into schmegs, which basically means you're a rapist, more or less. The fact that we're totally okay with that and men are actually admitting I'm a player. Really? Okay, so you're a liar and manipulator, so you basically coerce. But anyway, and that's why I talked about this dude the other day. The guy who started the whole 5 love languages, the racist pastor from North Carolina that basically convinced women that they should know. It's all about understanding your partner's love language, which for men is always physical touch, and it's never cuddling or other things. It's schmegs, right? And so he basically wrote a whole book being like, ladies, just learn his love language. And then also is, validation and whatever. I'm not going to the love. I already torn this guy apart. But somebody made such a great comment on my video reminding me that men don't read this book. Maybe men in the church, if men like this convince them to. But these books about relationships like that one, and all of these men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and all this stuff, it's for women. Men don't read about this. How many women do you know have given their husbands books being like, this will save our marriage? I mean, they may not frame it that way, but they're like, I really need you to read this book. And it'll sit on the bedside table for, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 4 years. and never even been looked through, much less read. But there are books that could teach men, help men. But they won't do that. They won't go to therapy. They won't work on themselves. All they do is use women as, their therapy, their home improvement or self-improvement mechanism, right? Oh, okay, they learned that they can't be a selfish prick who literally never does anything at home. Okay, she taught me that after exhausting her for years. So then the next wife maybe gets a little bit more. You know what I mean? So even if you do teach these men something valuable, you're not going to benefit from it. You will get nothing from this. So don't even bother telling these men all the ways they failed. All the endless ways that they failed because they couldn't decenter themselves, because they couldn't stop using whatever power they have that's systemic and also like poking and prodding and triggering all your trauma responses, right? And any of your family issues to get you to stay and put up with this stuff. They won't do any of that stuff. They're just like, okay, I guess this one won't put up with it anymore. And whatever they learned that they need to do to get you to stay, they will apply that to the next relationship, but they won't actually grow and learn. And even if they did, what price did you pay? You paid years of your life trying to teach them that lesson, right? I'm done. I'm done teaching men. I'll teach them if they want to pay me. They can learn a lot by following my stuff online. But very few do. And if they do, they say, nah, and I have to block them. So, sorry, I cut off your access like that if you're a jerk. But this goes back to what I'm talking about a lot in terms of us. The way, you may not be like chronically codependent like I was, where I literally almost died from my codependency. But I do believe that women in general, under patriarchy, are, on the codependency spectrum in terms of like, we have been taught to center these men, right? To take care of them, to be their mommies and their therapists and their blah, 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 blah. Like everything's about them and we're just kind of like, whatever's left we can pour into ourselves, if anything, which usually there's nothing left. And one of the things that we feel obligated to do is at least give them a lesson to walk away with. And that's that whole like Beauty and the Beast crap. You know what I mean? That's like, first of all, she should have never been with that. A literal beast who threw a table at her and all of his inanimate objects in his castle are terrified of him. Like the dude is an awful, awful human being a curse was put on him for a very good reason because he's being a jerk. But anyway, she ended up with a dude. But imagine if she'd finally left him. What good does it do her to be like, what, beast? Maybe you should stop talking to the clock that way. Maybe you shouldn't have locked me in a prison as your schmeg slave before finally seeing that, you could love. You know what I mean? Like, no, Belle, you know what? Get out of the castle. Move on with your life. Heal your own stuff because you need to teach these men something. Right? That is patriarchy. That's our social conditioning to just love and nourish, and they just suck off of our tit in every way possible, right? Even knowledge, even, personal growth. We have to teach them everything, and I'm done. I'm tired. And you know what? They resent the people who teach them that anyway, right? Unless they truly want to learn. And just to be clear, my husband learns a ton from me in our marriage, but I learn a ton from him. We complement each other. We are growing together. We are learning together. But one of the things that I realized when I was dating is that, I don't want to have to teach you so much. I don't want to have to teach you how to see me as a human being. You know what I mean? Baseline stuff. Like, we're both going to have to learn stuff. But I'm done. And I'm certainly not here to teach men for free online. And when I was dating, I realized there were so many times in the beginning where I gave men feedback. And then I was like, you know what? They don't deserve that feedback. It is really good feedback that could really help them. But I'm not doing it. I got better uses of my time. Unless they really want to pay me, I'm keeping this precious information for myself. Not only because I respect myself, my time, my energy, and they don't even deserve my lessons about how they can improve having healthy relationships, especially with women, because, they don't see us as humans a lot of times, but because I do not want to put another bullet in their patriarchal pew, right? Because sometimes they take this knowledge and they spin it to get better at manipulating. So the next woman will stay even longer because he's hidden this stuff even better because of you. You don't owe them shit. Goodbye, have a nice life, and move on.